Well, Neil, first of all, reflections on Saturday, a couple of days ago, always lose it this time of year. How much better was that?
Yeah, much better. I can't ask any more from the boys, and the sort of whole atmosphere and vibe was good around the club with the fans, and that's a step in the right direction. I still feel that these last two games, I know we was poor for 45 minutes against Macclesfield, but I still feel that we could have had 6 points and we should have had 6 points, and we've ended up with one. So there's part of me that's got that sort of nagging feeling about it. But yeah, it was a good performance. Can we follow it up with that energy tomorrow? That's going to be the key.
That kind of spirit, if you like, that togetherness, oneness, if you like, is that what you need as you kind of try to haul yourself away from where you are?
Of course, we need to run hard. I'm a big believer in all sorts of stats that don't lie. I think when we played, I think it was the Cheltenham and Morecambe games prior to me coming in, I think the team covered 95k, and the last couple of games we've covered 108, 107. So, you can kind of look and see that they're running harder, they're fitter, they're lasting longer. So there's some really good signs, but obviously I'd rather play rubbish and win 1-0.
Hard work gets you rewards though, doesn't it?
You like to think so. Obviously, it's given us a point. It's a good point against a good team, but I just got that nagging feeling that we could have had 6 over the last 2 games, and when you're down there, you just need to scrap for every point you can get.
And how difficult is it to harness what you had on Saturday and possibly over the last couple of games, as you say, constantly now? Because that's what you need every game, isn't it?
Yeah. The hard part at the moment is for most clubs. Some clubs have got bigger squads. Obviously, I think we've got 7 players injured at the moment, so it's a tough schedule, and we're turning out the same players for every game nearly at the moment. So the hard part is, today's kind of like a second day recovery. The boys still got a lot of fatigue in them, but you want to get your work done, and that's been constant now for 3 games. So it's been where's the balance on freshening them up so that they can play with that intensity, and where's the balance for getting the tactics into them to make sure we're ready to go.
I suppose it's always the same, and the same for every club at this time of year, isn't it? But how difficult is that sort of 4th game over the festive period?
Yeah, well, I think we have to include the Colchester one on the 5th of January as well, because that comes 3 days later as well. So I think it's we look after them. I think it's just keeping them mentally and physically feeling good about themselves. What I hope comes from our last game is the boys feel a bit better about themselves. They've got a smile on their faces. They feel like that's something they can build on. Tomorrow we just need to make sure we don't let ourselves down and we carry on building from it.
What do you expect from Oldham? Of course, they've just had a managerial change as well, and seemed to get the bounce, didn't they, at the weekend with a very good win at Port Vale?
Yeah, I think Oldham, when they're good, they can be very, very good. Obviously, they had a crushing defeat at Carlisle, which lost the manager the job, which was a shame. But I think then they go and bounce back with a 4-1. I think they've beaten Bury. They're a team that on their day can beat most teams, and if they have an off day, any team can beat them. I think that goes for most teams in the league. But they're at home; they'll expect to win. We just need to make sure that we defend as well as we did, we work as hard as we did, where our competitive edge is as strong as it was, and that will give us at least a platform to try and get something from the game.
Turn of the year, of course. As you look forward to 2019, how confident, Neil, are you that you can give Notts fans what they all want and at least get out of the bottom 2? That's got to be the start, hasn't it?
Yeah, I have to be. Because, like I said before, a lot of other people are fearful because it's not in their control. It's partly in my control. I can't actually go out on that pitch and do it, but I can try and get most of it across. So I have to be confident, and that's what I will be from now till it's impossible. But I'm sure that won't be the case, and we will drive. We will look to bring, if we can, 1 or 2 faces in and freshen it up and bring in the qualities we might need and see whether we can get some momentum, because we do need to chip away and win a good percentage of games that we haven't won so far this season.
I was going to mention January and how important you feel it is this year in terms of actually bringing new faces in, maybe moving some players out. How important is the next 31 days?
Well, I can't wait for it personally to get to the 31st of January, because it means I can actually focus more on the team and the training, because at the moment, you know, every hour I've got is spent trying to do the recruitment right and trying to sort of just evolve what we need to do over the next 4 weeks. So the moment that I can't possibly do that anymore will be a moment when I can take a deep breath and actually maybe watch a bit of telly in the evenings rather than having to watch players and stuff like that. So yeah, there's, you know, lots of work to be done, and you know, hopefully it will pan out how we want it to, because it's not going to be for the want of trying.
Are you keen to do some business early in January if you can, and if so, have you got things in the pipeline that might happen sooner rather than later? Yeah,
of course. Any deal that happens doesn't just happen the day before, it happens over a number of weeks. So we've already started working on things, and it's a really, all transfer windows are difficult, but January 1 things change week from week. You know, 1 week you think you've got 2 players, next week they're not available, or they've gone to another club, and 2 others that weren't available all of a sudden are available, and you've just got to make sure you've got your profile of what you're looking for, your lists, you know, so that if you're not going to get number 1, or you're not going to get one of them, you're going to get another, and we're chipping away at that. So with a bit of luck, you know, and don't hold me to this, but I'd like to try and do something before the Colchester game, just to start the process and give a lift, because other signings that you may be after, they may want to see 1 or 2 coming in and see what you're trying to do. So I'll certainly be trying for that. Whether I can achieve it is a different kettle of fish.
You mentioned there, give everybody a lift, because new faces can do that, can't they?
Yeah, of course. You know, new faces around, and like I say, you know, sometimes the boys that may not be in your plans, they don't sort of go until they realise that you've brought 1 or 2 in as well. So it's football's a crazy game, and loads of things have got to happen. Paul Hart's working with me very closely behind the scenes, and we're Coxey's watching loads of games. The staff are watching loads. We're trying to get it as right as we possibly can.
We've got a few players here that are on loan as well. What's the situation with the likes of those, Keston Davis and Ben Hall? As a couple.
Yeah, we need to assess them, because obviously you're only allowed 5 loans in the squad, so we need to just assess the plans and, you know, the ins and outs. It's very difficult. I think first and foremost we need to try and get 1 or 2 in, and then we can start working at what goes on the other way and bits and bobs like that, because no point getting out and then not being able to get in and being lighter in your squad. So we'll start with that process that way.
Just finally from me, what about Rob Milsom? A lot of talk about him and his contract situation, but he was back in at the weekend. What is the situation there?
Yeah, we've had a chat with Rob. We've come to an agreement with Rob regarding his contract that you know, it suits both parties. So Rob's a great lad, great attitude, and I think just that weight off his shoulders, he had probably his best game for me, like a lot of players did, but I thought he was excellent. And you know, sometimes it's hard for footballers when you've got things on your mind, and so we're really happy we've worked with Rob, and you know, he's available for selection.